The Strategic Air Command's ability to strike back at an aggressor may depend largely upon the combat radius of its bombers. Fortunately, the range of our military aircraft is not limited by the initial capacity of its fuel tanks. For as early as 1923, aviation pioneers made air refueling a reality. In 1929, the U.S. Army Air Corps achieved a world endurance record when air refueling enabled its question mark to hover over Southern California for almost 151 hours. By 1949, improved methods of transferring fuel from tanker to receiver made possible the first non-stop round-the-world flight. Lucky Lady II, a SAC B-50, covering the 23,452 miles in 94 hours. And within the next 8 years, the science of air refueling advanced to the degree that 3 B-52s in Operation Power Flight were able to circle the globe in half that time. Today, the development of an increasing readiness posture is dependent upon your complete understanding of the tactics and techniques of air refueling. Of course, those are just a few of the high spots of air refueling.
We've sure come a long way since those fire hose days, Phil.
That's right, Bob, but we still have some of the same problems with us. Naturally, you're familiar with a good many of them as a result of the refueling experience you've had as a co-pilot. Without a deference to John, we're going to have to start with the preliminaries.
That's okay, Phil. A good review won't hurt me a bit.
Thanks, Captain.
For a moment, however, we're going to assume that you both remember your ground school training in rendezvous tactics and that you've been boning up on the TO.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Good, because right now we're going to pick up things in the final stages of the rendezvous. The tanker has already completed its turn to the refueling track. This is the tanker. Inbound, we start our deceleration at 2 miles. At 1 mile, we've decelerated to 270 knots. We're still maintaining our 1,000-foot separation. As we approach the half-mile point, we've climbed 500 feet, and this is what we should see in front of us. Notice that the tanker is in the upper portion of our windshield.
Right.
We've got to see to it that he stays in that relation to us as we climb to the observation position. Now you see, this way you can judge the tanker's range a whole lot easier than if you were flying level with him.
I sure can. Even I get that.
Of course, the primary purpose of maintaining your altitude separation is to give you positive clearance in the event of overrunning. But it also lets the boom operator keep the receiver in sight during the final approach phases of rendezvous.
Pilot, radar, range 1/2 mile, left 5 degrees.
Pilot, roger. All right, you've decelerated to 260 knots. Now you've got to hold this 5-knot differential until you approach the observation position.
Stagecoach 49, this is Cupid 87, boom operator. How do you read?
This is Stagecoach 49, loud and clear. Range 1/2 mile. Airspeed 260.
Cupid 87, roger. Understand. I have you visually.
Pilot, radar, 1/4 mile dead ahead. Pilot, roger. Looks good. Cupid 87, Stagecoach 49, 1/4 mile.
Cupid 87, roger. I'm stabilized at 255.
Now zero your closure as you come up to the observation position. That's fine, Bob. This looks like the observation position.
100 feet back and 50 feet down.
You ever take 1/8 of an inch? Okay, John, checklist.
Normal slipway door switch.
Open. Ready light on.
Slipway and airplane wing light power stats.
Adjusted.
Rendezvous transmitter and ECM equipment.
Off and standby.
Navigator, IFF standby. Checklist complete.
Roger. Cupid 87, Stagecoach 49, observation position. Ready for contact.
This is Cupid 87 boom. Ready for contact. Forward 100.
What do I do now, Coach?
Sit back and relax, but not too much. I want you to watch what I'm doing. I've got it.
Right, you got it.
Remember, Bob, we're going to move in almost 100 feet, and we only have about 25 feet of altitude to kill. So we bring the airplane up slowly.
Forward 50. Your rate of closure looks good.
Notice that the airplane is real stable here. I haven't added much power.
Forward 30. Azimuth and elevation look good.
We bring it right down the center line, coming up slowly. And right about here, we begin to kill our rate of closure.
Forward 20. Forward 10. Up 2. Azimuth is good. Closure looks good. Forward 8. Forward 6. Forward 4. Forward 2.
As we make contact, there should be little or no power change, and there's no appreciable trim change required.
Tanker contact.
Receiver contact.
Elevation 30 degrees. Telescope 12 feet. Should be in the green. When do they start pumping the gas?
Just as soon as...
Pressure coming up.
I guess he must have heard us honk our horn. Roger. All right, Bob. Now I'd like to demonstrate the envelope limits.
Okay, Coach.
Cupid 87, I'd like to move into your azimuth limits.
Roger. Your elevation is good. You're 5 degrees left azimuth. 10 degrees. Approaching azimuth limit. 15 degrees.
Correcting right.
Roger. 10 degrees. 5 degrees. On the center line.
Going right.
Roger. 5 degrees right azimuth. 10 degrees. Approaching right azimuth limit. 15 degrees.
Roger. Moving left.
10 degrees. 5 degrees. On the center line. Should be in the green.
Now I'd like to move into your upper limit.
Roger. Elevation 25 degrees. Telescope 13 feet. Approaching upper limit. 20 degrees elevation.
Correcting down.
Roger. Elevation 25 degrees. 30 degrees. 11-foot telescope.
Roger. Going down.
Roger, sir. 35 degrees. Approaching lower limit. 40 degrees.
Correcting up.
Roger, sir. Elevation 35 degrees. Elevation 30 degrees. Very good position.
Moving to your outer limit.
Roger, sir. Azimuth and elevation look good. Telescope 15 feet. 17 feet. Approaching outer limit. That's it, sir. 18 feet.
Moving in.
Telescope 15 feet. 12 feet. 10 feet. 8 feet. Approaching inner limit. 6 feet. You're on the inner limit, sir.
Inner limit, Major. We can almost touch them.
Well, at least you can get a good look at those director lights from here.
I could see them just as well from a little further back.
Maybe so, but this will probably underline the importance of that little discussion we had yesterday. Remember I told you the key to precision refueling is a complete understanding of the pilot director light system. These pilot director lights are telling you what to do. Go aft, go forward, go up, go down. Go aft, go forward, go up, go down. These lights are activated by micro switches in the boom. The fore and aft lights as a result of the boom's telescopic action as you move in and out. The up and down lights when the boom is raised and lowered as a result of your elevation changes. And where you see these lights tells you what azimuth corrections to make. These lights, the voice of the boom operator, and your own perception will enable you to remain within the prescribed envelope. The dimensions of this envelope are dictated by the right and left, up and down, and fore and aft extremes to which the boom will extend before its limit switches are actuated, causing an automatic disconnect. It makes for smoother flying to stick to the center of the envelope, but some variations are to be expected. And your fuel transfer rate remains the same no matter where you are in the envelope. But to maintain your position, you must remember that the up and down lights and the fore and aft lights cannot always be thought of independently, but often must be considered in combination. For example, notice that whenever the telescope extends or retracts, the fore and aft lights are activated. Similarly, whenever the angle of the boom changes, the up and down lights are activated. From the position shown here, you can see that both elevation and telescope can be corrected merely by flying up. Likewise, if you're in this position, elevation correction is all that's required. Conversely, from this position, the only movement required is aft. Again, the airplane will be returned to the center of the envelope merely by flying forward. Now let's take a look at the effect azimuth deviations have on the lights. In this case, the telescope will be returned to the nominal position solely by correcting azimuth. These are just a few of the possible deviations and their effects. It's frequently desired to make a series of small corrections rather than attempting one or more major changes, which often lead to over-controlling. Above all, don't get excited by minor excursions within the envelope. The pilot director lights are guide signals, not distress signals.
Transfer complete. You have 6,000 pounds.
Roger. Transfer complete. Take a little power off now and drop back. Dropping back.
Telescope 8 feet. 10 feet. 12 feet. 14 feet. 16 feet. 18 feet. Outer limit. Disconnect tanker.
Disconnect receiver. You'll be taking it in next time, Bob.
There's a lot of things I still don't know.
By the time you've got a few more missions under your belt, you'll know just about every one of the do's and don'ts. Remember, in the rendezvous stage, do concentrate on flying the airplane. Don't start worrying at this point about observation and contact position problems. Do maintain your altitude separation. Don't climb until you reach the 1 mile point. Do use air brakes back here if necessary. Don't wait until you're in the observation position. Do stabilize in the observation position. Don't move in until your checklist is complete. Do approach contact position cautiously. Don't approach erratically. And if you should overrun your contact position, do call a breakaway. Keep your wings level. Don't make any turns. Do remember that the area directly beneath the tanker must be avoided. The apparent low-pressure area caused by the change in the tanker downwash on the receiver's horizontal surfaces causes a pitch-up. Don't.
I sure won't.
I know doggone well you won't, Bob.
You mean he's checked out now?
Just about. How's your memory on those emergency breakaway procedures I gave you, Bob?
I have total recall. Be prepared to execute an emergency breakaway at any time. You retard the throttles to idle, drop back, and when you have definite clearance, nose down and descend 1,000 feet.
At the same time, the tanker will apply full power and climb straight ahead.
That's right, John. And don't forget that the important thing is to hold your wings level. Keep the tanker in sight and get positive separation before you nose over.
I've got the message.
Well, I'm glad you have, because I'm going to have you try a practice breakaway at the end of this next contact.
You mean it's the fourth quarter, Coach?
Right. I'm sending you in. You've got it.
Roger, I've got it. Receiver ready for contact.
That's fine, Bob. Now advance the power to start closing, and then back off slightly to maintain your desired rate. Good boy.
Forward 2. Contact tanker.
Contact receiver.
A nice smooth approach and contact, Bob. Pressure coming up.
Right 5. Back on the center line. Very good position. Telescope 12 feet.
Transfer complete.
Roger, receiver.
Stagecoach 49. This is a practice. Break away, break away, break away.
Stagecoach 49, breakaway.
Normal slipway door switch.
Closed. Slipway door lock light on.
Slipway and airplane wing light power stats.
Off. Anything worrying you, Bob? I thought you'd be pretty happy after a performance like that.
Well, I am. But I can't help wondering about night refueling.
Relax. You've mastered the fundamentals. And they apply no matter what time it is. As a matter of fact, many pilots find night refueling easier, because you can see the lights a whole lot plainer.
I can see what you meant.
Right. When you've learned to solely on the forward portion of the tanker as your guide, night refueling certainly isn't any tougher.
Forward 30, forward 20, forward 10, forward 8, forward 6, forward 4, forward 2, up 2. Tanker contact.
Receiver contact.
Pressure coming up.
Maintaining good position.
That's fine, Bob. Keep your corrections smooth and your power changes to the minimum.
Disconnect tanker.
Disconnect receiver.
That's fine, Bob. Let's head for the barn. What's on your mind now, Bob?
Oh, nothing. I was just wondering, Phil, if I'd ever have a job like yours, teaching a lot of greenies how to refuel.
An assignment like that wouldn't scare you, would it?
No, but I guess by that time there'd be a lot of changes, Phil.
Well, you're probably right, Bob. We don't know what the future holds. If we have a future, we'll have to do our job today. Bob, I'm happy to say that you've mastered yours. Congratulations, you're checked out in the B-52 and air refueling.
Thanks a lot, Phil.
Captain, your diploma.